In the cold silence of space, war burned like fire. The human alliance fleet was under attack. 12 ships were already gone. The alien Zarkith Empire had more firepower, better speed, and stronger shields. The humans were running out of options. Their last hope was to retreat, but even that wasn't guaranteed. Captain Lenara Hayes stood on the bridge of the HS Valor, her jaw clenched tight. The air smelled like burnt wires and fear. Her crew worked hard, hands moving fast over consoles, trying to hold the ship together. All forward weapons fire at will. She shouted. Outside, blue energy beams flew across space. The humans fought bravely, but it wasn't enough. The Zarkith ships moved like wolves among sheep, tearing the fleet apart. Then something strange happened. One of the sensor officers, Ensign Malik, gasped. Captain, a ship just appeared. Dead center of the battlefield. What ship? Hayes asked sharply. Malik looked at her, eyes wide. No ID, no call sign, no transponder. It's not in any of our records. Put it on screen. The main display lit up, showing a ship that looked like a ghost. It was long, black, and silent. Its hull was smooth, like it was carved from obsidian. There were no markings, no lights, no sound, just darkness. Is it human? Hayes asked. Malik frowned. I think so. The design is old, very old, but it has human signatures. Then, why isn't it answering us? No one had an answer then. Without warning, the strange ship moved. Fast, too fast, too fast. It zipped across the battlefield like lightning. The ship twisted through enemy fire with impossible precision. It aimed at a Zarkith destroyer and fired a single pulse of red light. The destroyer exploded in silence. The bridge of the Valar went completely quiet. What was that? Whispered Lieutenant Mora. Captain Hayes shook her head. Replay that. They watched it again. The strange ship had fired a single beam. One shot, one kill. The Zarkith ships paused, confused. Then they turned their weapons toward the newcomer. The ghost ship vanished. 1 second it was there. The next it wasn't. Did it cloak? Someone asked. No, Malik said slowly. It jumped, but not like any jump I've seen. No up, no flash, no delay. The ship reappeared behind another Zarkith cruiser. Another red pulse, another instant kill. This is impossible, Mora said. Captain Hayes leaned forward. Send a message. Open all frequencies. Yes, ma'am. Hayes stood tall. Her voice was strong, but there was curiosity in her tone. This is Captain Lenara Hayes of the Human Alliance. Unknown ship, we thank you for your help. Identify yourself. Please respond. Silence. Then, after 10 long seconds, the ship finally spoke. A deep, cold voice came over the radio. Robotic.com, but clearly human. The old war is over. The real enemy is coming. That was all it said. Then it vanished again. Fleet Command. Hours later, Admiral Kor sat in his war room, eyes fixed. On the recording, around him were top officers from across the fleet. Everyone watched the same thing, the ghost ship appearing, destroying enemies, and speaking just a few words before disappearing. No transponder, Kor said. No command codes. But it's using human tech. It's not just human, said Commander Dre. The whole design matches Project Ironseed. That program was shut down 150 years ago. That's not possible, Kor said. We ran a scan, Dre continued. The ship has materials that don't exist on our regular shipyards. Armor we can't make today. Weapons far beyond ours. What about the voice? Another officer asked. We ran a voice analysis, said the AI technician. It's human, not synthetic. But it doesn't match anyone alive. Kor stood and walked to the screen. That ship is real. It's on our side for now, but we don't know what it wants, or why it's here. He looked around the room. Find it. Deep space, on board the unknown ship inside, the ghost ship. Everything was silent. No crew moved through the halls. No lights blinked. Only the soft hum of power echoed in the walls. In the center chamber, a large pod stood. Inside it, a man floated, eyes closed, body still. He looked human, but his skin was pale, and small cybernetic marks ran across his neck. Suddenly, the pod beeped. Lights turned on. The man's eyes opened. Captain Roan. He looked around, calm and clear. Then he spoke to the ship. Status. A soft female AI voice answered. Mission activated. Enemy confirmed. First wave eliminated. Human contact achieved. Did they respond? Yes, they are confused, but still fighting the wrong war. Roan nodded slowly. They will learn soon. He walked toward a console and stared at a glowing map. It showed 3 zones: human space, Zarkith space, and beyond that, a dark red cloud labeled Void Sector 7. Do not enter. Inside that cloud, strange signals blinked. Time to remind humanity, Roan whispered, who the real enemy is. Back with the human fleet, Captain Hayes watched the replay again. The strange message echoed in her mind. The old war is over. The real enemy is coming. What did that mean? Was the Zarkith war a distraction? Were humans being kept busy while something worse was arriving? She turned to her second-in-command. Prepare a search team. We need to find that ship. And fast. Space was quiet, but danger still moved in the shadows. 3 ships from the Human Alliance, including the HS Valor, searched the nearby sectors. They were trying to find the strange ghost ship that had saved them in battle. Captain Lenara Hayes stood at the front window of the Valor, watching the stars slowly move past. Everyone on her ship was nervous. No one had ever seen a ship like that before. No one knew where it had come from. Still no signal, she asked. Ensign Malik shook his head. Nothing, Captain. It's like it vanished. It didn't vanish, she said. It's hiding. Hayes looked at the main screen again. Her instincts told her the ship was watching them. Maybe it wanted to be found, or maybe it didn't. Launch probe drones, full scan. If it's out there, we'll find it. The drones moved silently through space. Their sensors searched every corner looking for power, movement, anything strange. For 10 long minutes, there was nothing. Then one drone pinged. I have something, Malik said. Small power signature, very faint. 100 kilometers ahead, near that asteroid field. Take us and slow, Hayes ordered. The Valar moved forward, careful not to wake whatever it had found. As they got closer, something began to take shape among the rocks. It was the ghost ship. Dark, silent, still, but now, they were close enough to see its full size. It was bigger than any known human ship, and its surface was like black glass, reflecting almost nothing. It had no lights, no movement, no signs of life, but the scans showed power deep inside. Hayes ordered her team to suit up. A boarding crew was sent, 5 people in full space armor. They moved in a small shuttle, gliding through the blackness until they reached the strange ship's side. No airlocks were visible, but as they got close, a small section of the hull opened by itself. No sound, just a slow, smooth motion, like the ship was welcoming them in. Inside, it was even stranger. The walls were metal, but warm to the touch. The halls had no lights, yet everything was visible, glowing faintly from the floor. The place felt alive, like the ship was watching. Lieutenant Mora led the team. Her voice came through the comms, calm but alert. We're inside. No resistance, no signs of life. But it's eerie. Keep going, Hayes said through the radio. Document everything. The team moved through the halls. Symbols covered the walls, human writing. But, old, very old. They passed strange machines, quiet and dark. Everything was clean, not dusty, not worn. As if the ship had only been active for a short time. Then they reached a large chamber. At the center were pods, dozens of them. Long glass tubes, each holding a person, men and women in deep sleep, their faces peaceful, their bodies still. They were dressed in ancient Earth uniforms, ones not seen in over 100 years. One pod stood empty. This isn't a ship, Mora whispered. A tomb. Hayes listened in silence. Captain, Mora continued. One of these people, he matches a record. Captain Elias Roan, declared missing in action 152 years ago. Hayes stared at the name. She knew that name. Everyone in Fleet Command knew it. Roan was a legend, a war hero who had vanished during a secret mission. This is impossible, she said. Then, without warning, a soft light turned on behind them. A screen lit up. The AI of the ship had activated. A calm female voice echoed in the chamber. Welcome to Deliverance. Project Black Sky. Mission status. Critical. Earth threat level. Maximum. The real enemy has returned. Hayes leaned closer to the screen, speaking through the comms. Identify. What is the enemy? The AI paused for a moment, then answered. Species code. X001. Origin. Unknown. Nature non-organic. Objective. Consume. Destroy. Absorb. Status. Approaching human. Space. The message was clear. This ship was not built for the Zarketh war. It was built for something worse. Something that had not yet come but was on its way. Mora moved toward the pods. Some of these people could still be alive. Should we wake one? Hayes thought. For a moment, then nodded. Double quotes. Yes. Start with Roan. Mora tapped the controls. The pod hissed. Steam rose. Slowly the lid opened, and Captain Elias Roan opened his eyes. He didn't scream. He didn't panic. He simply sat up, looked around, and said, What year is it? Mora answered. It's 2547. Roan took a breath, then said, "Too late, we're already behind." The AI's lights flashed. Enemy signal detected. Far. Edge of Sector 9, movement fast, unknown size. Hayes listened from the Valor, stunned. She spoke quickly. "Bring Roan aboard. We need answers. Now." As Mora helped Roan up, he looked at the pods around him. Sadness filled his face. They were supposed to wake up when Earth was ready, but it looks like Earth forgot us. Mora asked him, "What is Project Black Sky?" Roan stared into the distance. It was our last chance. On the Valor, Hayes looked out into space. The ghost ship wasn't just a mystery, it was a message. Something was coming, something that made the Zarketh look small, and somehow, an old war hero from over a century ago might be the only person who understood what to do next. Far beyond the edge of known space. Strange signals moved like shadows in the dark, and in the heart of that darkness, something ancient began to stir. Something hungry. Captain Elias Roan sat in the medical bay of the HS Valor, staring at a glass of water in his hand. He hadn't touched it. He was still adjusting to the new world around him. Across from him, Captain Lenara Hayes watched quietly. She had read every report about Project Black Sky since boarding his ship, the Deliverance. There had been nothing in modern records about such a mission. It was wiped clean, lost, or hidden. "You were declared missing 152 years ago," she said. "Everyone thought your ship was destroyed in deep space." "We weren't destroyed," Roan replied. "We were asleep, waiting." "For what?" Roan looked up at her. His eyes were calm, but there was something behind them, something heavy, like he had seen too much. For the real war to begin, he stood and walked to the window. The stars outside looked different to him. He used to know their names, their positions. Now, the maps were changed. Borders had moved. Enemies had changed. But one thing remained. "The enemy we prepared for," he continued, "is not the They were never the real threat." Hayes stayed silent. Project Black Sky was created to fight something ancient. We called them Eaters. Machines from deep space. No one knows who made them, no one knows why. But they do one thing everything, stars, worlds, life. She frowned. "We've never seen anything like that." "You will," he said softly. "That's why we were made." The Deliverance was one of 12 ships, each one built to sleep for 100 years, then wake and scan the galaxy. If nothing came, we'd sleep again. But if we detected the Eaters, ... He didn't finish. He didn't have to. "You're saying they've returned?" He nodded. "The signal we picked up, it matches what we saw before." Hayes opened a file on her tablet and handed it to him. "This is what we've been receiving. We thought it was noise." Roan took one look and nodded. "Not noise. That's them. Their voice." She sat down. "Why didn't Command know about this?" "They did," Roan said, "once. But people forget, people lie. The Zarketh War became more important. They thought we were too expensive, too paranoid. So they shut us down. Or tried to." Hayes looked away for a moment. "The weight of this was too much." "Your ship?" she asked. "Why is it so advanced?" "Your time didn't have that kind of tech." "It didn't," Roan agreed. "The tech came from a crash site. Something old fell to Earth long ago. We studied it, copied it. That's what made Project Black Sky possible." "So, alien technology." Roan shrugged. "I don't know if they were aliens, maybe just a warning. A piece of something bigger. We never learned who built the Eaters." Hayes stood. "I need to speak to Fleet Command. They need to hear this from you." "They won't believe me," Roan said. "They'll think I'm broken, or lying. They'll listen," she said. Later that day, a meeting was held over a secure channel. Hayes stood with Roan in a small room on the Valor, facing a screen where Admiral Core and other fleet leaders appeared. After hearing everything, there was silence. Then Core spoke. "You want us to believe that a forgotten captain from a secret project has woken up after 150 years to warn us about a threat we've never seen?" Roan stayed calm. "I don't care what you believe. I care what you do next. You want resources, ships, time. All while we're fighting the Zarketh. You're not fighting the real enemy," Roan said. "You're wasting time." One of the other officers leaned forward. "If these Eaters are real, prove it. Show us something." Roan nodded. "Fine, I'll show you where one of them is hiding." He turned to Hayes. "We need to go to the Outer Rim. Sector 7, dead space. No colonies, no ships. That's where the signal is coming from." "Then we go," she said. The Valor, along with 2 escort ships, jumped towards Sector 7. It was quiet space. No travel routes, no patrols, just stars and dust. As they arrived, Roan stood on the bridge. His face was tense. "It's here." he whispered. The sensors picked up something strange, a floating field of metal fragments, a wreck, but not human, not Zarkith. It was shaped like a spiral, pulsing with a dark red glow. Is that a ship? Hayes asked. No, Roan said. It's a mouth. Everyone looked confused. He pointed. They don't fire weapons, they don't send armies, they just eat. One by one. Planets, moons, space. They break it all down, and when they're done, they grow bigger. The sensors beeped. Movement. Something inside the field was alive. A shadow passed through the debris, something large and slow. No engines, no heat, but it was moving toward them. The Valar backed away, but too late. A spike of black metal shot from the cloud and hit one of the escort ships. The ship didn't explode, it simply stopped. No power, no movement. Its lights went out, and it began drifting. Then it crumbled, piece by piece. The ship broke apart, and was pulled into the spiral field. Roan gave the order. We need to leave, now. The fleet jumped out. Back in safe space. Hayes stared at the data. We can't fight that, she said. Yes, we can, Roan answered. But not with your ships, not with your war. We need to wake the others. Hayes looked at him. The other black sky ships, he nodded. If any of them are still alive. Far away, deep in the void, more signals began to blink. Red, cold, growing. Something was coming, and Earth had forgotten it ever existed. Captain Elias Roan stood in the command center of the Deliverance, watching the old ship come back to life. Lights flickered, panels lit up. The AI's voice echoed through the halls, cold and calm. Systems online, cryopods stable, awakening, cycle ready. Captain Hayes and her crew stood behind him, silent. They were now inside something far older and more dangerous than they had ever known. The Deliverance was more than a ship, it was a warning left floating in the dark. Many crew do you have aboard? Hayes asked. Roan turned to face her. 75 in deep sleep, all trained in black sky protocols, all waiting for one thing, to fight the Eaters. She nodded. Do we wake them now? He stared at the screen showing the last sensor, data the black spiral of the Eater field, the ship they lost. If we don't, he said, Earth dies. The AI started the wake cycle. One by one the pods began to hiss. Cold steam flowed across the floor like a slow mist. Soft beeping filled the chamber, and then they opened. One by one the sleepers rose. They looked around, confused at first, then calm. Their training kicked in. They had all been told this moment might come, even if they never lived to see it. Some blinked at the sight of new uniforms. Strange people. Some whispered to each other. How long? 150 years, someone replied. They found us. No, Roan said. We woke up ourselves. The signal's back. The crew of the Valar stared at the awakened warriors. These weren't soldiers like them. These people looked older in some ways, more serious, like they already knew death was coming. One of them stepped forward, a woman with sharp eyes and silver hair braided down one side. Commander Vera, she said. Tactical officer. Status. Roan gave her a short nod. Enemy is active. One confirmed in Sector 7, possibly more. Then we're behind schedule, she said. Hayes raised her voice. You've all been asleep for a long time. We're at war with the Zarkith Empire. You'll need time to catch up. No time, Vera interrupted. Zarkith are noise. Eaters are extinction. Hayes didn't like the way she said it, but she couldn't argue. She'd seen the footage herself. The ship that was eaten. The strange metal field that moved like it was alive. Roan spoke again. We need to contact the others. The other ships? Hayes asked. Roan nodded. There were 12 total. If any of them are still online, they might have detected the same signal. They might be awake, or they might not. Vera tapped into a console, initiating black sky broadcast priority alpha. Encrypted signal bursts sending now. For 10 minutes, nothing happened. Then 3 pings. Signal received, the AI said. 3 ships responding. Solace, Ironwake, and Ghostlight coordinates locked. 1 ship shows movement, others are in sleep mode. Roan smiled slightly. Not bad. 3 out of 12 after 150 years. He turned to Hayes. We'll need help getting to them. One is near the border of Zarkith territory. Then we'll need to move fast. She said Zarkith ships are everywhere. Roan looked over his old crew. Let's remind them who we are. They began planning the mission. The Deliverance would travel with the Valar and 1 escort to recover the sleeping ships. One of them, Ironwake, was floating near a dead moon deep inside enemy territory. Getting in would be hard. Getting out might be impossible. Still, they jumped. The first ship, Solace, was easy. It was in orbit around a gas giant, hidden in its magnetic storm. The signal activated the pod systems. 50 more warriors awakened, confused but ready. Another AI, another old voice saying the same words. Threat detected. Initiate mission protocol. The second ship, Ghostlight, was harder. It had taken damage long ago. No signs of life inside. Some of the cryopods had failed. But 15 crew members still lived. Roan stood beside the pods, face grim. They died waiting, Vera added. But some lived. That's enough. And then came Ironwake. Getting to it meant flying through Zarked space. No shortcuts. No hiding. The Valor's crew looked worried, but Roan's people didn't flinch. We've done worse, one of them said. As they entered the sector, 3 Zarketh ships jumped in to intercept. Combat alert, Hayes shouted. The Valor turned to defend, its weapons charged. The Deliverance moved ahead. Suddenly, something unexpected happened. The Deliverance activated a system Hayes had never seen before. Its hull changed color, bending light. Then it vanished completely. Where did it go? Malik asked. Cloaked Roan's voice came through. Stay close. Watch. The Zarketh ships scanned the area but found nothing. Then, one by one, their engines failed, their shields fell, and they exploded without a single shot fired. On board the Valor, people stared in silence. What did you do? Hayes asked. Welcome to Ghost War Tactics, Vera said. You don't fight an Eater face to face, you cheat. They reached Ironwake. It was orbiting a black moon, quiet, lifeless, but intact. They began the recovery. More soldiers, more mines. Trained for the Dark War Earth had forgotten. By the time they returned to safe space, 4 of the 12 ships were active again, and their crews were ready. Inside the war room of the Deliverance, Hayes looked at the growing fleet. You think this will be enough? Roan looked at her. No. Then why keep going? He looked at the stars. Because there's no choice. Far beyond them, deeper in the void, more red signals blinked. New mouths opening, new ships disappearing. And in the heart of the Ether field, something massive began to rise. They were only at the beginning. The room was dark except for the slow pulsing of red lights on the screen. A 3D map of space spun slowly. Red dots multiplied across it, each one a signal, each one a warning. Captain Elias Roan stood with his arms crossed. Commander Vera stood beside him. Behind them, Captain Hayes and her team from the Valor watched the screen, silent. These signals, Hayes said, they're spreading faster. They always do, Roan replied. The Eaters don't fight wars. They don't argue, they move, they consume, and they multiply. Vera zoomed into the map. One of the red dots blinked faster. This one is new, she said. Less than 20 hours old. Near Colony Bestafor. Civilian zone, no defenses. Hayes stepped forward. That colony has over 50,000 people. Roan's face was hard. Not for long, we need to move. The small black sky fleet prepared for a rescue mission. The Deliverance, Valor, and the reawakened ship, Solace, jumped into deep space, racing toward Bestafor. On the way, Hayes looked at Roan. You said they multiply. How do they build? No, he said. They grow. They absorb matter, rock, even people. Then they reshape it. 1 Eater becomes 2. Then 4. Then 10. That's impossible, Malik said, looking at the data. There's not enough time, not enough fuel. They don't use fuel, Vera replied. They use us. As they neared the colony, long-range scans showed something terrible. The sky over Bestafor was red. Thick clouds circled above, twisting like a storm. Below, giant black vines stretched from the ground up into the clouds. The ground looked broken, like it had been dug up from beneath. Hayes whispered, What is that? A feeder route, Roan said. That's how they connect to a planet. They start breaking it apart. The fleet dropped into low orbit. Hayes opened a channel to the colony. Static. Then a voice came through, scared, shaky. This is Governor Pell of Bestafor. We're under attack. Unknown life forms. Some kind of machines that changing people. Please help us. Roan nodded. We go in. Ground team with me. Vera, you command the ship. They launched a dropship. As it broke through the red clouds, they saw the surface-wisted buildings, dark growths covering streets, people running, screaming. Then they saw one of the Eaters. It was tall, over 20 meters, shaped like a spider, but with no eyes, no face. Its legs were thin and sharp, moving smoothly as it walked across a broken street. Where it stepped, the ground cracked, and black metal began to grow. Hayes whispered, It's changing the planet. The dropship landed in the center of the colony. Soldiers rushed out, forming lines, protecting civilians. Drones scanned the area. Strange spikes had grown from the ground like antennas. They're building a signal tower, Roan said. Calling others, gunfire rang out. The soldiers opened fire on the Spider Eater. Bullets hit, but bounced off. Rockets were useless. Then one of the Black Sky troopers stepped forward with a strange weapon. A blue pulse shot out silent and fast. The Eater froze. Then it cracked down the middle and fell apart. EMP disruptor, the trooper said. Short range. Custom made. Don't miss. They pushed deeper into the colony. Most of the people had taken shelter underground. Some were still outside, stuck or worse. Hayes and Roan found a group trapped inside a ruined hospital. A strange black mist floated near the building. One of the soldiers stepped too close. He screamed and fell. His armor twisted and began to melt. Nanocloud, Roan warned. Don't breathe it. They used a drone to lure the cloud away and got the civilians out. As they made their way back, they saw something worse. A human, or what used to be. His face was blank. His body covered in black metal. His eyes glowed red. He didn't speak, but he moved toward them with inhuman speed. Roan shot first. The man dropped. Another came. Then 3 more. Get to the dropship, Hayes yelled. As they ran, one of the Eater creatures dropped from above, smaller, shaped like a crab, but fast. It latched onto one soldier's back. He screamed as his armor cracked open. Roan turned and stabbed the creature with a short blade. It sparked and fell. The soldier was still alive but shaken. These things, they're copying us, Malik said. They're making machines from our dead. That's how they learn, Roan said. They study us, then use us. They reached the ship and took off. From the sky they saw dozens more Eater creatures moving in the city. The black vines had grown taller. This colony is lost, Vera said over the com. If we stay, we lose more. Evacuate the people, Hayes ordered. Then burn it all. They dropped firebombs from orbit. Blue flames lit up the city, burning the vines, the creatures, the towers. The sky turned orange. It wasn't enough, as the fleet escaped with the survivors. Sensors showed a signal one of the Eaters had left the planet. A new one, flying, heading into deep space. Where's it going? Hayes asked. Roan looked down at the ashes of Bestafor to find others. He said, back aboard the Deliverance. The mood was cold. They had saved lives, but they had lost a world. And now the Eaters knew more about them. They're learning, Vera said, faster than before. Hayes looked at the data. If they reach the core worlds, they will, Roan said, unless we stop them first. How? We turned to her. We take the fight to them. Somewhere in the dark, beyond the stars, a giant shadow moved, something larger than any ship, older than any machine. It turned slowly toward Earth. The enemy was no longer feeding, that it was hunting. The crew of the Deliverance stood in silence. The large screen showed a map of the stars, but no one was looking at it. They were watching a replay. The enemy Eater, the flying one, was seen leaving the ruins of Bestafor. It moved like a predator. Fast and silent. It didn't use engines. It didn't give off heat. It was nearly invisible. We almost missed it, Vera said. But it wanted us to see. Captain Elias Roan leaned forward. That's not a drone, it's a scout. They're searching for something. Captain Hayes crossed her arms. What are they looking for? More colonies? Earth? No, Roan said. They're looking for us. Hayes shook her head. You think they're hunting the Black Sky ships? Yes, Roan said. We hit back. We used weapons they hadn't seen before. Now they're curious. That scout wasn't escaping, it was reporting. Vera turned to face the group. Then we strike before they do. The Black Sky crew had a plan, one that had been written long ago but never used. A secret base called Null Station, hidden inside a dead star. It was built for one purpose, to be the first place to launch a counterattack. If the Eaters ever returned. Is it still online? Malik asked. Roan didn't answer. He just nodded once. They jumped. The fleet Deliverance, Valor, Solace, and Ghostlight entered a region of space called the Silence Zone. No signals, no light, just a huge dead star surrounded by debris. In the center, a station shaped like a black coin, with no lights, no motion. Null Station. This is where the plan starts, Roan said. We built weapons here, not for Zarketh, for the real enemy. They entered the station. The hallways were covered in dust. Some doors were welded shut, but the power was still running. Somewhere deep inside, the station was alive. A voice spoke. From the speakers, identity confirmed. Elias Roan, Black Sky Protocol active. Welcome home. Hayes looked around. Feels more like a tomb than a base. It's both, Roan said. Inside the main chamber they found the armory. Strange weapons lined the walls, guns with curved barrels, launchers with glowing blue cores, drones shaped like stars. These weapons were made from reverse-engineered Eater tech, Vera explained. We didn't understand them fully, but they work. Hayes stepped forward. You had all this, and you let Earth fight normal wars for centuries while this was hiding. Roan looked her in the eyes. Because if we ever used them, it meant the end had begun. Vera called everyone to the table. The Scout Eater sent a signal. We tracked its direction. It's heading toward Sector Aegis 13 Zarkith space. There's a base there. Hayes frowned. A human research base. They've found it, Roan said. If the Eaters infect Zarkith labs, they could build something worse. They prepared for the strike. The mission was simple. Sneak into Aegis 13, destroy the infected base, and stop the Eater from spreading. They didn't have time to ask the Zarkith for permission. They launched in stealth mode, the Deliverance cloaked, slipping past enemy sensors. The rest of the fleet waited outside the sector that as they approached the planet, the station came into view. It was already too late. The station had changed. Large parts of it were covered in black metal. Strange antennae had grown on the surface, and something was floating near it, a ship, but not one built by humans or Zerkage. It looked like a flower made of knives, slowly spinning in space. That's not just a scout, Vera whispered. That's a builder. The Deliverance crept closer. Inside the station, lights flickered. No response from any humans. The AI scanned the structure. Life signs, uncertain. Organic material detected. Unknown fusion, Roan said. They've taken over. The only choice left was destruction. Vera and a small team boarded the station. They moved through dark halls filled with strange growths. Walls pulsed like living skin. Machines had been twisted, merged with bone and steel. They found the central core. It was alive. A large ball of light floated in the chamber, covered in cables and flesh. Inside, they saw a human face, half-melted eyes, glowing red. It spoke. You are too late. Vera didn't hesitate. She dropped the explosive device and backed away. As the team escaped, the voice grew louder. We are learning. We are becoming. You are not ready. They raced back to the Deliverance and jumped away. Behind them, the station exploded. A bright white flash tore through the sky. When the light faded, only ash remained. But no one cheered. We saw something new, Hayes said. They've started using people, not just to copy but to talk. Roan's face was pale. They're building a mind. One that thinks like us. And soon, Vera added, one that fights like us. In the dark part of the galaxy, deep beyond the last star, a new ship stirred. It was massive. Its hull was shaped like a sword, and inside its heart the red eye of the builder opened. That it had heard the humans. Now it was coming for them. The stars were quiet. Too quiet. Captain Hayes stood on the bridge of the Valar, staring at the sensor map. She didn't blink. The others waited behind her. No one said anything. Still nothing. Vera whispered. The builder ship. It vanished. Captain Roan paced. No, it's not gone. It's waiting. Somewhere just outside our reach. They had destroyed the Eater-infected station at Aegis 13, but it hadn't stopped the enemy. It only woke something deeper, something worse. That ship, massive, shaped like a sword, it wasn't just another drone. It was the first of a new kind. The Eaters were changing. Now they had minds, plans, and they were coming. We need to find that ship, Hayes said, before it finds us. Vera pointed to the far edge of the star map. We tracked its last known vector. If it kept that path, it's heading for the Celian Drift. Roan frowned. That's where the old war graveyard is. Hayes blinked. Graveyard. Roan nodded. Thousands of broken ships, human, alien, Zarkath from the last Galactic war, all left to rot in space. Malik looked confused. Why would they go there? To build, Roan answered. All that metal, all that tech, it's perfect food. They jumped. When the fleet reached the Celian Drift, they saw a storm of wreckage. Shattered cruisers floated in silence. Long-dead warships drifted with no power. Some holes were marked with burn scars. Others were twisted beyond recognition. Then they saw it. The sword. It wasn't hiding, it was growing. The builder ship now floated in the center of the graveyard. Its body had doubled in size. Massive limbs reached out like roots. Broken warships were pulled inward, ripped apart, and absorbed. It was feeding. It's becoming a factory, Vera said. A moving one. Around it floated dozens of smaller ships. Fast, sharp, like birds made of black glass. Defenders, Roan said. It has a fleet now. Hayes stared at the monster. How do we stop something like that? We don't, Roan replied. We distract it. The Black Sky team created a risky plan. One group would attack from the front. Loud, fast, violent. The other would slip inside the builder ship and plant a bomb deep in its core. It's the only way, Vera said. We've studied the data. The builder doesn't have a normal brain. Its mind is spread through the whole ship, but the core it's where it began. Kill that, and we slow it down. Roan led the strike team. Hayes would command the fleet. Malik, Vera, and 2 others suited up for the stealth mission. They boarded the Ghost Light, the smallest and fastest ship in the fleet. As the main fleet charged the builder, chaos broke loose. Enemy drones launched from hidden bays. They moved like insects, attacking from every angle. The Valor spun to avoid fire. The Solace launched EMP torpedoes. Explosions filled the dark sky. In the middle of it all, Ghostlight slipped through the cracks and disappeared into the builders. Bodied up inside the ship, it was cold. The walls pulsed with slow red light. Strange whispers echoed through the hulls, words spoken in many voices. Some were human. Malik gripped his weapon tighter. I don't like this. Vera moved ahead, scanning. They passed rooms full of old parts, guns, engines, bones, machines, fused with muscle, things that shouldn't exist. Then they found it. A chamber with no doors. In the center was a glowing red heart floating, spinning slowly. Wires ran into it like veins. Vera planted the bomb. As they turned to leave, the walls changed. They grew eyes. Dozens of red eyes opened along the walls. A voice whispered from all sides, you bring death, but we are beyond death. The floor shifted. From the ceiling, a shape dropped, twisted metal, shaped like a human, but not human, not anymore. It was one of them, a builder guard. It charged. The team opened fire. Sparks flew. The creature was fast, nearly impossible to hit. It slashed at one soldier, cutting him in half in seconds. Vera shouted, "Run!" Malik stayed back. He held the creature at bay with plasma grenades. "I'll stall it," he yelled. "Get out. You won't make it." Vera shouted. "I know," he said, "but you will." She turned. She ran. As she reached the ship, the timer on the bomb hit 0. The builder ship shook. A blast of white fire tore through the inside. Pieces flew out into space. The glowing heart cracked, then exploded. Outside, the Black Sky Fleet saw the explosion. The builder's limbs froze. Its drones stopped. It was damaged, badly, but it didn't die. Instead, it turned and started moving faster than before, straight toward Earth. "It's wounded," Roan said. "Now it's angry." "Then what do we do?" Hayes asked. Roan stared at the screen. "We go home." They jumped, leaving behind the burning graveyard. Earth was the final target now, and the sword was coming. The stars above Earth were quiet, but everyone knew something was coming. In the orbit above, Earth's defense fleet stood ready. Hundreds of ships floated like sharp teeth in the sky. Fighters, cruisers, station cannons, black sky ships were at the front. Deliverance, Valor, and what was left of Solace. Captain Hayes stared out of the bridge window. Captain Roan stood beside her, silent. They had less than 5 hours. The builder ship was on the way. Even wounded, it moved fast, faster than anything built by humans. Its body stretched across kilometers now, shaped like a blade, covered in black armor and glowing red veins. It had eaten thousands of old warships now. It wanted Earth. "The final stand," Hayes said quietly. Roan nodded. "It ends here." On the ground, all nations had united. Massive rail cannons stood on every continent. Fighters filled the skies. Civilians were moved underground. Old enemies stood side by side. Even the Zarkith had sent help. Strange bio, hovering silently above the moon. Everyone knew this wasn't just about Earth anymore. It was about survival. As the hours passed, the tension grew. Vera walked quietly through the halls of Deliverance, checking systems. Her face was pale. Malik was gone. The memory of his sacrifice still burned in her mind. She looked at the screen. The enemy was close. Then the alarm rang. Enemy ship in range, mass approaching fast. Impact in 3 minutes. All across the fleet, crews rushed to their stations. Fighters launched. Shields went up. The sky turned red. The builder ship arrived. It didn't slow down. It didn't speak. It charged. Massive lasers lit up the space. Above Earth, plasma beams struck the builder's hull. Explosions bloomed like fireworks. Fighters swarmed around it like hornets, firing again and again. But the ship didn't stop. It fired back. Black lances of energy stabbed through ships. The Valor took a direct hit and began to break apart. A Zarkith ship crashed into a swarm of Eta drones, sacrificing itself in a flash of light. Roan's voice came through the comms. "Focus, fire on the core. Look for the weak spot. We hit it once before, we can hit it again." Inside Deliverance, Vera activated the last weapon. Something hidden, something old. A prototype weapon made by Black Sky long ago. Project Sunknife. A beam that could pierce the hull of a planet. But it needed A direct shot in time to charge. Hayes spoke across the fleet. We need to hold it still. Pin it down. Give Vera her shot. Across the sky, ships moved in close. They locked tractor beams, fired magnetic tethers, slammed into the enemy ship with desperate force. The builder ship roared. A sound that wasn't sound, more like a scream, inside every mind. Now, Hayes shouted. The weapon fired. A thin golden line shot from Deliverance and tore across the sky. It hit the builder's heart for a second. Nothing happened. Then everything exploded. The builder ship split down the middle. Fire rushed from its core. The black armor cracked and peeled. Its limbs curled inward, and in one final burst of energy it shattered. Silence. Silence. Then cheers. Across the fleet. Across Earth. Across every channel. Cheers and screams of relief. Had done it. The builder was dead. But the cost had been heavy. Over a third of the fleet was gone. Many brave fighters lost. Captain Hayes stood in silence, then gave the order. Recover what we can. Help the wounded. We begin repairs at once. Later, in a quiet room on Deliverance, Roan and Vera stood together. Is it over? She asked. He shook his head. This one's done. But the Eaters aren't finished. They'll be back. Vera nodded slowly. Then we'll be ready, he smiled. We always are. Far away, on a dark world no map had touched, another signal lit up. Another mind opened its eyes. But this time, it hesitated. Earth had not fallen. Humanity had fought back, and won.